My God, do we question it? Yes.
I'm for one at all with, like how much strength it takes to go another round and yet another round.
What are we doing with our lives?
Finding your path, not giving up, and taking the steps that are needed.
If you go into a creative life, you're kind of signing up for constant rejection.
It is a part of the journey, and maybe that's okay.
And then I just literally write the sentence every single morning. What is meant for me will not pass me by.
So welcome back to Ambitchiously Intelligent podcast. Today we have
Intelligent.
Yes, I love how you pronounce it. I think it should be our signature sound. Today we're so excited to have an incredibly talented person with us, Lily Streams. She's an actress, writer, director, and producer from Essex, UK. And she also is the founder of the Essex Collective and the co-creator of Essex International Film Festival. Lily, what an incredible journey you've had. And we're so thrilled to have you here with us. Thank you so much for taking the time. Before they begin, there is just one question that I want to ask is, how are you today? How are you feeling?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm feeling good. I had a good sleep. I spent time with my best friend yesterday, and so yeah, I'm very happy. How are you?
Awesome.
Good.
We're very exciting, right?
Yes, I'm excited. I'm really excited because I met Lily the first time in Vienna. She just hopped on a plane, was going somewhere else, and then ended up in Vienna. And we had so much fun. And I was you just mesmerized by your energy and the way you stand up and continue and just do not give up. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh, well, I feel the same about you, Ava. That's why I'm very happy to have met you as well.
Oh, that is so beautiful. Yeah, I've heard only good things about you from Eva and how an incredibly beautiful person you are in and out. So
Aww.
I'm really excited to
Thanks. Well, I'm glad she wasn't
get to
saying
know
mean
you as
things.
well.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's dive in. And we are really curious to know how it all began for you. We know that you have a very impressive theater background. So my question is, did it all started with the theater and then you kind of dived into filmmaking? What's your beginning?
Yeah, definitely. I started off completely with theatre, like most young people do. I think it's the easiest thing to access when you're growing up. In theatre sort of schools and in school as well, doing the school productions every Christmas and things like that. But my dad's an actor as well, so I kind of grew up watching him in the wings and just being in theatres. And so from a really young age, I was always feeling very at home in a theatre. And then my career as well started kind of in theatre, and then I kind of got curious about film as a medium as I kind of moved into my mid to late 20s.
Did you always
Sorry.
Sorry, Valeria. Sorry.
No, please go ahead.
Yeah, I was just curious. Did you always want to become an actress? Did you know that early on, or was that something that came later, or?
I've always known. I don't know what it is. It's just like this, feeling at home, feeling like that's what your purpose is, what you're meant to do. And I always felt the happiest when I was in a theatre setting or on stage or in rehearsals or, with my friends who used to do drama with me as well. I think I just always kind of knew. It just was never really a question of doing anything else growing up. Yeah. I probably question it more now than I did ever then.
Oh my God, do we question it? Yes.
What are we doing with our lives?
Yeah. Do you remember what was the first production that you took part in as more like as a teenager, I think, not as a child?
So when I was in year 8, so very young, so year 8 here is 12, 13, I played the lead in the school musical of We Will Rock You. and I played Scaramouche. And I don't know if you know the musical, but she's, she's a bit of a feisty, like quite sexy character. So I was there, 13 years old, in my corset and my fishnet tights and my skirt made of belts.
Girl.
And I was like charging across the stage and doing all sorts of things. And I just felt so empowered. And I think looking back, I was probably too young to play that role. But yeah, it kind of, I just felt like really empowered by that, by doing that show. And it gave me the confidence as well to play like a lead role as well. And of course, it's in a school setting. So it's very, you know, but it was a good production. It was good.
But wait, when you say school setting, that can be really hard. Like, because you have, like, you know, your schoolmates and everyone, you don't want to maybe look stupid in front of them. So I think that's really really brave of you.
I guess so. I mean, I just used to love it. I just never used to care what people think. I used to sing in the school assemblies all the time. It was funny, but yeah.
Well, talking about that, it's interesting. I know that you applied for acting schools, and the biggest one. Would you like to tell us about that? Because I just love how you, like, your overall is just finding your path, not giving up, and taking the steps that are needed, and lifting others up on the way. That's kind of how I know you. So I would love to hear from. Well, I'm talking about RADA, obviously. I would love to hear about that and how it was for you to apply. And yeah.
So I really, really wanted to go to drama school. I kind of, that was what I thought my path would be. And I felt like, you know, I would get there. And I was in the National Youth Theatre, which again is like a lot of people audition for, and you go and you do a summer course. It's kind of the Youth Theatre of England, basically. So I did that when I was 16. I got straight in. Everything kind of flowed. And then when I took a year out when I was 18. I went travelling. And then when I was 18 in that year, I then applied for all the big drama schools. And I was quite stubborn because I was like, these are the 5 ones I want to go to. They're the top ones in the country, some of them in the world. And I'm just going to go for those. So I was a bit stubborn, to be fair. I think if I went back and did the journey again, maybe I would be a bit kind of more open to other schools other than just these like top 5 ones. So yeah, I applied, did the auditions, and I got to the final round everywhere I applied for, which was a very like good affirmation. Okay, I'm still young.
Yes.
I got to the final round, and some of them have 4 rounds, and thousands of people apply for these schools. And then I tried another year, and again I got to the final round everywhere, and the waiting list at RADA. Yeah, so it was just so close. And then the next year I was pretty stupid. I was like, I just really want to go to RADA. I felt such an affinity there, and I was on the waiting list, and so I just applied there the 3rd year, and I didn't even get a recall. So it was quite a strange experience. I found it quite draining because it consumes you. I don't know if anyone listening has done the whole audition process, but it literally, as soon as it finishes, especially if you do the whole process, it finishes in the summer and then starts again in September. And it's constant like auditions and workshops and, feeling a bit anxious and on edge about yourself.
Yes.
And then, just to not get in after being so close, that felt quite, but it didn't really set me back. It just kind of spurred me on in a way, because I felt like, well, I'm good enough to be up there with the final rounds, but I just don't know why it's not happening for me. And I think that's the hard thing about the career that we kind of have chosen to go into, because I don't know, I feel like there's kind of like a big wall, and I'm kind of like peering over the wall. I've managed to climb it, but then I haven't ever quite just managed to get to the other side. And that's what that experience felt like. It was like, it's almost there, I can touch it, but it's just not happening for me. And it's hard.
But that is hard. When we look at your stuff now, I mean, we're going to do slowly. I would say that you that wall, you've like built like this gorgeous ladder that you just walked up, and like that's kind of like the projects that you did. So it was amazing but it sounds like what you said is that you got in the end, you didn't get in to RADA, but yet you took it as a kind of a yes because you were always so close to it, and you knew how few of you would get in, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was always quite against the odds anyway. It's such a hard thing. It's a miracle if you get in. It's amazing. Yeah, because it's not just I know that it's not just about talent. It's about so many different things. They're building up a group.
It's a lottery in it, because you don't know like what is the combination of things that work to get someone somewhere. But looking back in hindsight, do you think that you wouldn't be the person you are today if not for that experience? Do you at all analyzed or look back and, what are your feelings as of today about this?
Yeah, I absolutely, it's just part of my journey, and I totally own that now. I just think it wasn't meant to be. And I think that I wouldn't have been such a proactive person. Like, I guess, it's like we have to be like actor / writer / producer / but I think that experience made me kind of think outside the box and go, okay, well, how can I create my own path, because I literally can't rely on anything else to do that for me. I think sometimes not having that kind of safety net of a school where you kind of think, okay, well, this has happened for me, and then after that I'll just be, it will just happen. It's kind of like, oh, okay, this is a really ruthless industry. And it made me question, do I want to do this? And do I want to put all this time and effort into it? And I guess the answer was yes, because I did.
Still are.
Still are. Hustling away. Yeah, and I think with COVID as well, the way that all happened, I managed to have quite a lot of like professional experience before COVID happened. And I was away on tour for 8 months just before COVID hit. And I'm so grateful for that opportunity to have kind of built up my CV and also experiences before that massive break, because I would have just graduated before the pandemic. So if I'd have got in the year.
Got it. Okay, so for those out there are in school and that you are in your chosen acting school where you wanted to be, please listen to Lily. And that is exactly, even if you're in the school, you need to carve your own path. You need to be your own boss. You need to really go out there and seek your opportunities, seek your people. So I love that you did that, and that you, even after getting a no, but yes, yet, as you said, you were so close every time. That meant you do have an amazing talent, which you do. I love you. And so yeah, that's a beautiful message. Thank you for that.
Yes, I'm for one at awe with, like how much strength it takes to go another round and yet another round. And I'm genuinely curious, how did you master all of this? Was it like your family, your friends, or was it like you all alone? How did you manage that?
How did I manage the kind of rejection, do you mean?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
I mean,
because I do have a problem with that. I mean, every time I get rejected, it's like a part of me is dying, and it takes so much courage to build yourself up from the ground another time. So
definitely. I mean, if you go into a creative life, you're kind of signing up for constant rejection. Like, there's the big ones that really, really hurt, obviously, and then there's little daily ones all the time. Even sometimes I feel like rejected when I don't get an audition for a while. It feels that hurts, because you're like, oh, nobody wants to see me, and what's wrong with me, or what do I need to be doing more of, or whatever. But it's just the nature of the beast, I think. And I've always like talked with my friends and my family, and my dad's been a massive source of kind of help with that, because I've seen him kind of go through quite a up and down career as well, like highs of being the lead in the West End to struggling to get a pantomime job. Sorry, Dad, for sharing that. But it's just the and he's just at the age of 63, he's just about to have a series come out where he's playing the lead in this big epic series for Disney Plus.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because you just said this about your dad, and because you're mentioning him, and he's an amazingly talented actor too. Please just mention that. What is the series, and because this is amazing. It's beautiful, and it's also about it's when it's your time.
Yeah.
And your dad has been an actor his whole life. He continued. He didn't give up, and now he has his beautiful big break, right?
Yeah, I mean, he kind of said that he never thought he's done a lot of theatre and, you know, television as well, but he just thought that it was it now. He would never do like a lead in a big series. And then this came up for him, 63 years old. And he went to Guildhall, which is a acting school, when he was 18. So it's just been beautiful to see him like flourish. And he's always had this like just trust in the process and trust that what's right for him won't pass him by. And you know, he's found joy in, you know, I've watched him find joy in as much joy in the West End job as doing a small thing locally with a group of professional actors locally that he's just done to 60 people or whatever. And he finds as much joy in that because it's for him, it's about the work. And that's been very inspirational to me because and he loves his family too. And there's more to life than the work. So
The work. Yeah. I love
so that's
Can you
been a
tell us
help.
his name and the series? Are you allowed to
sorry.
do that?
Yeah, his name's David Streams. And,
David Streams.
Yeah, and the series is called El Turco.
El Taco. And
It
who
should
is
be
he
out
playing?
in February. So he plays the series villain.
Oh,
Yeah, so he's got some really juicy things in it, which I can't say any spoilers.
No.
Obviously, but
Oh my god.
It's,
No, of course not.
I'm
And
excited
where
to see
where
it.
where are we able to see that?
So I think it's coming out on Netflix. It was originally made by Disney Plus, but they've
So
sold
watching
it to one of the other networks. So yeah, it should be really exciting. But I'll be sharing lots about it near the time.
Please, we're gonna celebrate your
shut up.
dad. It's very important.
Is there a date where it's going to be released? Or
I
is
don't
it
know the
still in
release
the-
date actually. The
Mm.
first trailers have just come out, so it is public now. But yeah,
Oh, I
it's
love
exciting.
this. I love it.
Lots of sword fighting and sexy men with their tops off. So I think you'll like it,
Ooh.
Ava.
Yes, that might be.
You
Definitely
say,
watching it.
"Husband, I've got to watch it. Sorry, husband. It's my friend's in it.
I don't know why. It's just Lily said
That's a
I should
must.
watch it.
Yeah. But just
Yeah.
one other thing that helps me kind of get through is I let myself feel the rejection. I just, if
Yeah.
I've like been rejected from a job that I really want, or I get really close to it, or, you know, haven't had an audition in a while and I'm just feeling rubbish, I'm just like, I'll just stay in bed and watch Gilmore Girls or whatever.
Oh,
We'll just cry. It's
Yeah.
okay. We'll just cry.
Yeah. Or I treat myself after auditions. I always have like a little treat that I'm going to do as soon as the audition finishes. Whether it's like, I know that there's a really nice cafe around the corner and they do good cinnamon buns or something like that. And I'll always, so it kind of has like a good sort of treat attached to the
reward, right?
anxiety,
I am
if that makes
so
sense.
gonna do that.
Yeah.
Say that
it's
again.
great.
So after every audition, like you've done the audition, then you treat yourself.
Yeah. And before the audition, I'll always look up like what's nearby. And like I'll have it in my head, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go and have a glass of wine there and read my book after. So it's kind of like,
I love that.
yeah. Otherwise,
Because-
I just feel anxious afterwards.
That's an amazing attitude.
Okay, That is
Wow.
beautiful. I love that because it's really celebrating the process and just celebrating oneself and the strength to just. It's an audition. We're putting ourselves out there again. You're feeling naked and vulnerable, and you're like, yeah, and I'm gonna be proud of myself and celebrate it. I need to do that because I tend to go like, let's function, and I do it, and I'm like, okay, I have to still function. So I need to do that.
No,
I
I'm like,
love
I've
that.
achieved today. I'm gonna relax. So
And I really like it how it's for you is no strings attached. It's like you went there, you've done your bit, and then you can relax and enjoy your day. It's
yeah.
amazing.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's always anxiety there as well, and then the longer you wait
Of course.
to hear back, and then you don't hear back, and all that stuff. Obviously, I still feel the weight of that, but yeah, you
It's a
know,
part of
it's
it.
part of it. Yeah, exactly. It's a funny life.
Did
but-
you learn it from your dad, or did you figure that on your own, like that kind of thing that works for you?
I think the outlook, yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I guess it's just like over time you develop kind of what works for you and how you can cope with it. Because I
Right.
definitely, when I was a bit younger, I would feel the weight of it quite a lot, and I'd beat myself up, and it's just not physically, obviously, but
of course it's physically, we know it.
just whip myself. You did rubbish.
Sorry, actors, sorry. Like crazy. No, but that's also what we'd love to now dive into more is like, you said waiting for auditions, yet you're someone that doesn't wait because you create your own stuff. And I admire that a lot.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just because I'm like manically trying to fill the void, or whether, but yeah, I find it excruciating when it is that silence for a long time. This year particularly has been extremely quiet on the audition front, if I'm honest. It's been very quiet, so I just can't sit there and wait, because I don't know, I want to feel like I don't know, it's hard.
Yes, you want to make things happen for you. It's a very cool thing.
Yeah, I guess as well, like as I get older, it's kind of like, what are the stories I want to tell? Like, I don't always necessarily, I love doing the work of other people's, like writing and things and other people's projects, but sometimes it's nice to actually use your own voice and your own thoughts and be like, this is how I view the world, and these are the people I want to work with, and I guess.
Is this how you studied writing, or was writing something therapeutic for you since an early age? Like it was for me. For me, it was the way to cope with my emotions, to, kind of find the peace, because it was always like so chaotic, and I get confused. But it was almost like a safe way when you sit and like pour all your thoughts on a piece of paper, and it's just all becomes like calm and clear, or clearer. So was it also like that for you, or?
I've always liked creative writing. I've always written kind of more poetry, but it's only quite recently that I then started writing children's theatre. That kind of happened when I was in my early 20s, and I really enjoyed that because I like being silly, and I like kind of getting to the core of like a message, and then relaying it in kind of a way that both children and adults can connect to. But then, it's only really recently that I've started writing more for screen, and exploring that part of myself and my work. And I'm really enjoying it. It's definitely a good way to, like you say, kind of work out how you view the world and put your thoughts down on paper. But I think I spend most of my time like writing, not actually writing. I don't know how you do that, or do you literally sit down and you just write?
I think it's like, it's not even 50-50. You have to, like, everything has to kind of brew inside you, and then you have to live through it, and then it's kind of like, maybe like the rest is just put in everything. It's like formed inside of you, and then it's just the act of kind of manifesting it into the real world, everything that you have like built up. I understand that.
Okay, I'm glad that's not just me. Sometimes I'm like, I feel like I'm writing, but I'm not doing any writing.
I mean, that's the thing. It's interesting because I wonder if a person, and you haven't been trained as a writer, right?
No, this is I don't really know much about the actual art of writing. I just sort of do it, but
neither do I. So I think when you are very young, you don't have any experiences. So how do you write about something that you don't really know? I mean, probably someone has a natural talent and they can tell the stories of other people, but for me, it always was something that was coming from my personal experience and lived emotions and stuff. And I think that has more power because it's based on kind of like this raw human experience of someone who lived through it, and it's the truth. It's something that it's difficult to find something more powerful in the world. But what was the first are you writing for female characters mostly, or do you have a range?
I do write for mostly female characters or female-led stories. I think, like you say, that's my lived experience. So I think it's easier to do that. And also, I guess there's a worry sometimes as a writer that, writing too much not in your own experience, because then you're kind of using stereotypes or how you perceive somebody else's lived experience, and that can be tricky sometimes as well. So I feel like we're all responsible for telling our own stories. Obviously then you use imagination and
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
When you're talking about stereotypes, I think I have to I want to ask you about Essex Girl, because you started talking about stereotype.
Yeah.
Same question was.
It is hilarious. Just the teaser that we were watching. It is so funny. Tell me about that. Tell us about that.
So Essex Girl is a short film. The actual full short film hasn't been made yet, but it's one of these things, isn't it? It just like you say, it lives in your soul. Like all these stories kind of live inside you. I feel like the light's going weird in my face. Distract me. What was this question? I've gone completely off.
The Essex Girl.
Sorry.
The thing was, because you are writing and you're creating, as you said yourself, I understand that. I do that when I work on characters. There's a lot in my head, very intuitive, and then it starts forming. And I know that you started working on Essex Girl. I think you wrote it. Am I right? Did you write that one?
I wrote
yes,
it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And you were talking about stereotypes. And I think that's kind of how that evolved, right? Is that true?
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know the county of Essex in England, we have a very strong stereotype where we're from, kind of exasperated and made worse by a TV programme called The Only Way is Essex, which kind of paints us as a county to be quite like uneducated, quite loud and brash and stupid, and there's this Essex girl particularly stereotype that kind of paints us as like a promiscuous, what's the word, materialistic, like lip filler and stuff, fake eyelashes, everything's fake. And I mean that stereotype comes from somewhere with some people, but like everywhere, but it's not, it kind of doesn't define us as a county. And I think that our county is full of very intelligent, amazing, creative people.
You're the testament of that.
I wanted to say, like you, girl, like you.
The Essex Girl stereotype as well was actually in the Oxford and Cambridge dictionary, and I can't remember the exact definition, but it was like Essex Girl, a promiscuous, unintelligent woman from the UK county of Essex.
No.
And then it was like used in a sentence, an Essex girl goes out in her white stilettos or something like that. Like outrageous. So there was this massive campaign a few years ago when these amazing women in the county just campaigned to get it taken out of the dictionary, and it did. Only a few years ago get taken out of the dictionary, so it's mad that it even existed.
That's
up
crazy.
until, literally a few years ago. So that this stereotype is very real, and just in general, stereotypes obviously are very toxic and very prevalent. But I was really interested in this kind of idea of casual stereotyping and stereotyping that is quite seen as kind of acceptable within society. So obviously you've got key stereotypes that are outly very unacceptable, but then there's also this kind of like sub sort of genre of stereotyping where we'll make like little remarks about people, or we can say it even on television, this is what these kind of people are like, or up north they do this, or from this country they're like this, and I just found that quite interesting. So that's why I kind of made this film, but I used the genre of comedy because I love comedy to explore that casual stereotyping. And I did it through an audition setting as well. And actually it was from a real kind of audition that I had for a soap. I won't say what soap, where they wanted an Essex character, and I like went in and I put on my accent a bit because I understood that what they kind of were looking for, but they were like, you don't really sound like you're from Essex, can you go like more? And I literally like in the end I was like, oh my god, like talking like this, and I was like, what am I doing? This is ridiculous. And so that it kind of plays on that, where casting director's telling her to be more Essex. They don't really see the character, and then she ends up just ridiculous, like very over the top, completely orange, really bright hair and fake
It's
eyelashes and a
hilarious.
chihuahua. So it's just
And
silly.
the chihuahua reacting to it is hilarious. It's like, what? It's like, yeah, we'll definitely put that in our show notes that you, our beautiful listeners, you know, those are watching can then click on it and see it. It is hilarious. I laughed so hard.
Oh.
I was like, oh my God, that is crazy. So the journey with that one is now, for everyone out there, is to get it made.
Yeah,
right?
I'd love to get it made, hopefully. It's one of those, I don't know, when you start kind of making, it kind of was the kind of project that I want to make it properly if I'm going to make it.
Yes.
Because we had some big kind of comedy names attached to it. I almost got funding for it, so I went through this whole process. We're basically finished pre-production for it. We just need to film it. I just need the money. But, you know, it's got two big comedy names attached, so it's quite hard to get them together in a room and like for everything, and they're so busy, and you know, you need the money for that. So that's why it kind of ground to a halt when we didn't get the money, but we were so close again.
But wait, you didn't yet get the money.
Didn't yet get the money
Yeah. And are we talking about it for a series, or are you talking about it for a short film, or do you want to do a series?
Well, it was a short. I don't know if it's, I guess her character, but the message of it maybe just kind of fits a short. And then because people have said, is it possible to kind of extend it, but I'm not quite sure what that looks like yet.
Got it. Yeah. So if you're out there listening and you're a producer and you have a lot of beautiful money,
we don't need that much, to be fair.
And we don't even need that much. May I ask how much? Really, let's put the numbers out there. I think this is something that's important that we start talking about, is because, you know, it's all about manifesting and getting the right people. And sometimes we think we need so much money for certain things, which isn't always true. So like, well,
to be fair, it's not that much. I could probably save and do it myself, but yeah, probably about 5 or 6 grand to make the film. And then obviously then there's like festival and PR and all of that stuff. So
maybe 10.
Yeah, probably about 10. And that's you know, paying people actually properly as well. The 5-6 grand is pulling in a lot of favors.
Yeah, and with 10, which is amazing, and that is not a lot, that is being able to pay everyone, which is so important in the independent world, that we are allowed to get paid. And please, if you're listening, you will have all the information from Lily. You can contact her, and please do. And
contact me. I've got other projects as well. You know, if you've got more, I've got series
just
in the
there.
house.
Well, talking about other projects, tell us.
Pardon, sorry? Did you say tell about other projects?
No, Valeria.
Sorry.
The other project, you were so interested. We watched the other one.
Oh, yeah. Via DOLO. It's an exciting watch. I kind of watch things because without any, you know, I never read any type of descriptions or anything. I prefer to have my own experience. And then maybe if something was, you know, confusing to me, I would dig deeper to get the view of the creator behind it. And I watched it twice. It was very confusing. I liked it, the physicality of it, the way how you portrayed this. And I'd like to read, what is it like? It's very brief, the description. It's a young woman embarks on a traumatic journey as she overcomes an invisible force. There's not very much information out there, and I think that was the intention of the creator, from what I gathered. But yeah, it's interesting. It takes you on a journey, and it's so short, but it perfectly captures this experience that so many of us go through, and it can make, you know, you can kind of put yourself in that person's experience. How was for you to film something like that?
So Via DOLO is very different from Essex Girl. It's an art house thriller, I would say.
Yes.
And I made it with 2 other lovely filmmakers, Daniel Keeble and Lee Lawrence, who I set up the film collective with initially. And we kind of got together, and it was in lockdown, so 2021, so it was in kind of like the third lockdown. I don't know what lockdown we were on at that point. But we just decided that we had time and we wanted to challenge ourselves. Like, we weren't making it for anyone else, and we were like, we love Lanthimos. I don't know if you know the director, Lanthimos.
Yeah,
Oh my
yes, of
God,
course.
yes.
I really love his work. So the three of us did, and we really kind of connected over our sort of shared love of his work. So that's kind of the vibe that we were going for, and we love the way that he kind of unapologetically just doesn't explain things, or things are kind of strange. And I think if you know what each moment means to you as a filmmaker, then it's fine if, you know, it's kind of left for interpretation. We want it. We know what the story is for us, but it is definitely made in a way that everyone sees something different in it, and what that kind of journey is different for everybody. But yeah, so we were kind of like, this is a bit different from what we would usually make, but yeah, we kind of just wanted to experiment and try something new, and yeah, it was really a good experience.
Oh, you definitely succeeded. I think that I really respect, by the way, when people put their projects out there and kind of like let them speak for themselves, instead of kind of feeding the narrative and, you know, shaping into something. And it's kind of like season control. So I conceived that baby, I'm kind of wrote it and I filmed it, and it's now out there in the world making its own path, and it's gonna find the audience, and, you know, the audience is gonna take it further, probably having their own experience with it. That's really cool. But can I ask you one thing? Is it like via DOLO? Is it the road of sorrow? Because DOLO is obviously in Italian dolorosa, which is sorrow. Is it like the translation of the title? Or?
Exactly. And it's also the path that Jesus took, I think, to
exactly
the cross.
Yeah, that's beautiful. A lot of symbolism.
Yeah.
And it's like pretty colorful as well, like the wig that you're wearing, all those details. I think they matter as well. And where it was filmed? Was it also in the
filmed
UK?
in my hometown, yeah.
Okay.
And because it was lockdown, we had these beautiful shots of, I think they're beautiful shots, but just absolutely desolate streets. And we would get up. It was filmed over the course of a few weeks, so we would get up at 4 or 5 in the morning, and it was like February, I think. And we would, the weather kind of changes as the film goes on, and the end shot obviously is like a sunrise. So I got up and got into that wig literally about 6 different mornings, and then the lighting wasn't quite right, but we kept like fighting for that light, because we knew that we wanted that across the mud, because we've got this beautiful estuary where we live, where the sea goes completely out. So yeah, and you can walk out in it, which is the last shot. But yeah, I thought it was like a nice sort of capturing of our hometown in the early morning in the desolate COVID. It was crazy.
Well, it is beautiful. It's beautiful filmmaking, and the shots are stunning. They really are. And what I am hearing is that you guys want to leave it open to the audience. Like, you don't want to tell what you felt or what it was for you guys, because then, you know, I'm sure that Valeria and I had totally different experiences when we were watching it. Because I had this feeling of, for me, that, it's like dissolved, like everything. It's, you know, there's a happy end kind of thing. And then I was like, wait a minute, maybe not. Wait a minute, what is it? So I'm not even going to say what it was then for me, because I don't want it to spoil it for the audience. I'm curious, though.
I love hearing what people think.
I just want to spoil it for the audience. For me, it was then, okay, I'll tell you. For me, it's a little bit like the inner demons. They're in my own way. And they can be brutal, and they can really knock me down. And it felt like this standing up and just moment of breathing and a moment of clarity. And then being all of a sudden like pulled back. Yet at the same time, for me, it felt like, you know, it is a part of the journey. And maybe that's okay. That's kind of what it was for me.
And
Nice.
Lily goes,
I like
no,
that.
it was totally not about that.
No,
Sorry.
I'm not. I want to say, but no. Yeah, that's kind of how I. That's kind of what I.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's more.
And
It's like a feeling, isn't it?
It's a
We're
feeling.
kind
Yeah,
of
it's all
capture
about the
this feeling.
yeah. Yeah. So that was the, again, it will be in the show notes. So you guys definitely will need to watch it.
It's only a short one, so
Short and well done and beautiful. But you said so the director, is it? Did he do with you the Essex International Film Festival, or is that what you're saying?
no. So I set up the film collective with a guy called Daniel Keeble and then another guy called Lee Lawrence. And Dan, because he just got so busy with work, he's kind of not working on the collective anymore with us. He's part of the community still, but yeah, he just got super busy. So, and then Lee has now actually moved to Thailand, but he still runs it with me, and we're setting up the festival together. So he's very much involved with the festival and still owns Essex Film Collective, and he was the DOP, so he was the cinematographer on via DOLO.
Wow,
He's
very
got me-
talented.
Yeah, he's so talented. He's amazing.
Really talented.
He studied art, like moving image. So he has kind of like an art degree. So his work's very interesting, the way he sees composition. And things.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Amazing.
It did feel like that watching it. Did you feel the same, Valeria? It was like watching like paintings. Like every frame was a painting. There's even a podcast out there that's named like that, which I love. But that's kind of what it felt like. It was well done. Yeah.
Yes.
I wanted to just touch on something that Valeria said a little.
Oh, please
few-
do, please.
Few minutes ago, where you said about finding your audience, and I can't remember the exact things you said, but you said about finding your audience and putting it out there, and just kind of trusting that people will find your work, because we had a bit of a journey with that as well. Like obviously we made it, we knew that it wasn't kind of mainstream, but we put it out, tried to do the festival circuit, and we were getting a lot of rejections. We were getting a lot of no's, like we weren't getting into festivals, and we were like, oh no, like is it rubbish? And people just aren't getting it, and it felt, we were really proud of the work that we did, and it felt
As
frustrating and kind of confusing because you don't get feedback, but then we just kept going and kept putting it out there, and then eventually we did find our audience, and we got into Aesthetica Festival, which is a BAFTA winning festival, and that was the perfect place for that film to be shown, and we were shown about 6 times across the festival week, and people received it like in a really positive way, and I had really great discussions about the work with other filmmakers who were there at the festival, and I'm so glad that we didn't stop trying to find the audience, because we found it. And I think I definitely learned from that you should just create what you want to create and what speaks with you, and not worry about what other people think. That's what art is. Not everyone's going to like it, or not everyone's going to get it, and that's totally fine. And you just have to trust that you will find your audience, and they'll find you, if that makes sense. Like they'll kind of
I so agree with that. I think we have our own fair share of like experience with festivals, but we are just at the stage of submitting our film. And I remember on the research stage, I was reading a lot of articles. I was doing kind of like online research of the strategy and how do you go about, like submitting it to festivals. How do you find the right festivals for you? I come across the article that was completely ludicrous. It's like, oh, you should think about the festivals before you even make a movie. So you need to like almost make a movie to please the festival, which was for me completely like defeating the purpose of making art. Like if you're trying to so hard to shape your art into the digestible form for the particular like festival or audience, or to please someone, I think that's not the purpose. That's why thank you for sharing just what you did, because it's the same for me. It's the same. I think forever is the same.
Yes,
absolutely. And I think if you're trying to be as an actor as well, like you spend most of your time being like, I wish I was like that person, then I would get the work, or then I would be successful. But actually you can only be yourself. So it doesn't it doesn't serve you to try to be someone else, because they're going to be doing it better and they will be the one getting the jobs, whereas nobody can see the world how you see the world. So you just have to, and not everyone's going to like what you do, you know. That's fine.
Isn't that interesting as actors that you kind of start there a lot of times? You're like comparing yourself to others, looking at the others are very successful, as in, you know, they have had the luck and the opportunity to be on the screen, and then from there, obviously if you are good, you're getting more jobs. And then you just come to the realization that it's really about being you and your unique self. And that's what gets you the jobs. And that's when you start booking. So if you're listening and you're just starting, be yourself now.
Yeah.
Just skip the other part.
It can be such a difficult industry with so much rejection as well, that it's like, you know, if you are living your life for someone else, then in those down times, you're not going to be truly living, are you? You're just going to be wishing that, I don't know. It's, weird. My partner is very good at kind of enjoying, just being himself and being like enjoying the moment and being like, well, that's, you know, I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I've lost my train of thought.
No, I like it. Oh my God, we have to talk about that. Lily just got married. Oh, so gorgeous. Yes, like do that again. Yeah, like in the camera. Like so beautiful. Congratulations. It's so beautiful. Well, when we're talking about film festivals, you then decide to even embark on that journey to start your own film festival.
Yes, I am starting my own film festival.
That's what you're doing now. So it's Essex International Film Festival. Can you tell us about that and why?
Why? No. Why am I doing this? No, I'm joking. Well, I started Essex Film Collective, which was a network of professionals working in the TV and film industry that are based primarily in Essex in the UK, although we kind of do connect with people from all over the world, and it's about connection, not just within our own community, but kind of putting ourselves out there in the wider community as well. So I started that during lockdown just as a means to connect. I just wanted to connect with people and meet people that I wanted to collaborate with and also be friends with, because it can be quite like a lonely industry, and I just moved back to the county because of the pandemic, so I didn't really know anyone, so I just wanted to make friends really, and then started making films and things with the community, and it kind of built from there. Because I ran screenings and workshops and events and things like that throughout the year to help filmmakers within the county. And then so because of my work through that, then I kind of got this opportunity to put in a bid for a film festival with a director that I met through the Film Collective who lives in LA called Ian B. McDonald. I was producing something from him, and when he was back, so this is really convoluted. My brain's like, when he came back to the UK, he kind of suggested, oh, do you want to set up a film festival with me? And I was like, oh, that sounds like a lot of work, but maybe with you, because, you know, you're working in Hollywood all the time and we get on really well and we're good friends and we have, you know, similar kind of values. But then, we just put it in this bid and then we got it. So it kind of happened. It felt like it was meant to be, really. And I'm really happy that we're doing it, because I'm passionate about various things, passionate about kind of breaking down barriers and walls within the industry and creating accessible opportunities for people to connect, and not just connect within the community, but with people who are like the next level, or, you know, being able to share skills and things like that. And then also giving people a platform to share their work, because we make the work and then it's so hard to get it seen and get audiences in front of our work. So I'm really passionate about that too. And then I'm passionate about breaking this stereotype that we have in this county, and I want to show the world that, you know, we actually have a really incredible, thriving film community here. We're so close to London, so so many people live here that work in the industry. So I want to kind of put Essex on the map as a place to be for film, which I think it should be. Sorry, that was a long, convoluted way of saying things. I apologize.
No, I love it. We love it. And I'm sorry. I'm sure Valeria, like me, when I was listening, she was like, "Yes, that's what we want to. Yes, that's why we're doing this podcast. Yes, we are totally there." Like, I don't, at least that. Yeah.
For everything that you told us today, I think there is this, like almost like a red line that is like trust, is like community building, is creating your own opportunities, it's not waiting, but at the same time, it's a good balance because you're like not putting your life on stop, you're living, you're enjoying, so it's all kind of in this equilibrium. That's so beautiful. How does it feel like to look for to trust into the, I don't know, like divine timing? Or I think Eva does have that as well. She shared with me the other day, and I found like I struggle with it a lot, but I'm coming to terms that that's like you have to trust. Really, that's the only way, that everything what was meant for you is gonna find you, and what's not, it's it's better not.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not easy to trust it, I don't think. I think it's it's like daily work to trust. There's always this like threat of like this little voice that's just like, what are you doing? Like, you're working so much. Yeah. What is the outcome? And it's like, actually it is the journey. Like, that's all we've got. But I think daily I write every morning. I do like a journal just every morning, just literally just write, just to get things out of my head. And then I write, like, I just literally write the sentence every single morning: what is meant for me will not pass me by. And I trust in myself, and I trust in the universe. And if I like the line, if I create and listen, I will be led. So then all that you have to then focus on is just creating and enjoying the work, and then listening to your internal feedback. Because I believe that you know what is right for you and what is not. So it's just trying to like be in tune with that and go, oh, this feels like it's not the right thing to be focusing on, or oh, this definitely feels like the right thing. Don't understand why. I don't know what it means, but it is definitely daily work. Yeah.
It's all about it being attuned with, because the journey starts from within, right? It's really interesting.
And it's also how you view success. I've definitely struggled with only thinking success means like being in a BBC series or an Apple TV series playing the lead, or on the West End playing the lead, and that's what success is for me, and everything else is just like a stepping stone to get to that place. And I'm trying to rewrite that, because I just think that's not healthy. And I bet you anything, if I did get into the West End as a lead, it wouldn't feel as brilliant as I think it will, or there'll be then what's the next thing, and then so. And my husband Harry, he is just so good at that point of view. Like, he keeps me so grounded, because as soon as I start going, oh, I need to be doing this, he's like, no, you literally are successful. Like, even just the fact that we can feed ourselves is successful. So it's like what you actually perceive as success. And and time and freedom, and that's success to me. Freedom to choose what I spend my time doing, and the time to do what I want to do. And
well, for me, and I know others, that when we got to meet you, is that we felt you were immensely successful and are successful. And so I think it's really interesting what you're saying, because I had the same thing. For me, success was exactly, you have a leading role in a Netflix series, or you're on this big blockbuster film and you have the leading role, or something like that. And then something that I also struggled with is like, you are financially successful. That's success. Like, you have a lot of money, and if you're not rich, you're not successful. And I'm like, oh my God, that is so unhealthy when you have that. But I have to admit that it's been also a very tough one for me. It's like, looking at that and going like, as your beautiful hubby says, like, if you can feed yourself, if you are doing what you love and enjoying it, that is beautiful success.
Absolutely. And also you can get that success, but then something else has to give.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. That is true.
We were kind of saying the other day, because I mean, we would love to have children at some point. Like, we were kind of saying, like, if one of us was to get a big, because he's an actor as well, so he auditions a lot, and for jobs that would take him away for quite a while or whatever. And it's like, that would be amazing, but also we'd sacrifice so much for that. And so actually, it's, I guess, trying to learn to enjoy this while we have this, and then not be scared that it might all change, but that would be exciting when that happens, but we'll miss a lot of what we have now when that happens. So, yeah.
That is beautiful. So interesting. Comes to mind, I watched recently an interview with James Corden, who I love dearly, and he shared that the reason that he went, like, he had his big breakthrough, he went to America. He has his own show, which, is probably everyone's dream in this field, in this profession. And then he was like, I've never felt more kind of, isolated, insecure, because, my family kind of took a turn on them, on his wife. And when he went back to the UK, to his home, to everything that felt familiar, he was just so happy. Obviously, he's very grateful for this experience, but he, at least that's what he said, he doesn't regret one bit of leaving the show, leaving all of this big kind of production, and just living his life the way it is. And that's success to him. And I think it's really important, because if you're like on that height, I think it's always like on to the next thing, and people keep asking, like, what is going for you next? Like, what are your aspirations? And it never stops. Like, there are a lot of like heights to climb, and you start to compare yourself with everyone else's success, and it's just no way of living. So
I know, and
really
every job might be the last job.
That outlook.
Every job might be the last job as well.
Exactly.
There's always that fear.
Well.
True.
Yes.
Yeah.
Still, we will take the big one.
Oh yeah, I mean,
we're gonna take it. We will be good with it.
We
can handle it. We're gonna be like, oh my god, like, I don't know what they were talking about back then. No, it really is about this grounding oneself and being thankful what we have, because if we don't, I've felt miserable, because it's just always like running after something, or you know what I mean, it's never, and it's just not a good place to be.
No,
it isn't. So definitely, no matter where you are, or if you're a big show or not, or a beautiful leading role on a series, a huge series, like, just savoring it and like really enjoying it. I think that's what it is. And I see you, Lily, with your baby on your arm, like, or babies, and just going like, Mommy's just going for a short time. She's going to be in the front of the camera, and then she's coming back, and they're like, I want to become an actor or an actress too.
No, we'll be on set together, the three of us, and Valeria will be like going, okay, and action. She'll be holding my baby.
Yes. Valeria will be holding your baby, and she's like, it's okay. Action. Mommy's just now for a short time. It's okay.
But that's kind of
hold for sound.
That is the vibe we need for women, though. It's like
yes.
this feeling, because this is something that I'm totally scared of. Is like, do I become obsolete, like, when I have a kid? Like, is that the end of like my career as an actor? Or I know that it's not going to be, but
I know, but I still understand.
It's like, if I don't get to a certain point before that moment, then I've kind of missed the boat, or it's going to be really difficult. Whereas I think, it shouldn't be we should be able to do what we want to do and still have a baby, and it not be like a hindrance to us. But then it needs acceptance, where you can bring your baby to set and someone just looks after it or whatever. I think that is happening more often now, but
I love that. I do. And I think that's really something. And also this thing of like, just because a woman has a child or children like me, I'm very lucky, that doesn't mean she just needs to play moms. Like, people, when they meet me, they think I don't have children. And they're like, oh yeah, no, you're like the villain, or you're like this or that. And I'm like, yeah. Cool. And then they're like, oh, you're a mom. Okay. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, you would be so good for that mom role. And I'm like, What happened to the villain? Where's the villain gone? Why? But I can do that too. A villain mom.
Well, you don't lose all the different like facets of yourself just because you become a mum.
I know, but that's exactly what you're talking about, this fear a little bit and these things. And I think, so, Valeria, I know what we're going to do. And Lily, you too, the next time we are producing and we're on set, we're going to have a kindergarten
Yeah.
for the actresses.
That's a great idea.
And the crew members that, you know, men or women that have children and need support. I think that is something to really look into. I love it. And as we said, or if Valeria is holding the kid on her arm and go like, action! No, that would be amazing.
I'm kind of imagining like the director's chair and then a tiny little director's chair next to it.
Oh, that's so
Two
cute.
people.
I don't remember whose interview it was. It was Olivia Wilde with, can't remember. She's brilliant director. And she was talking about being like heavily pregnant and being on set and how it was, you know, only because like it was almost all female crew around her that everyone kind of understood where she was at, and they were very you know, helpful and supportive and everything. And I think that's also the part of it, like finding the people who would be willing to contribute into that and be able to support you. And that's all cool and beautiful. And we need more of it. I don't think it happens often enough. Yeah.
That is true. That is true. I wanna go back shortly too, because before we wrap up or anything, the Year Essex International Film Festival. Now we will have a lot of people obviously listening that are maybe like, you know, taking their first steps, as in maybe have a short film or are thinking about producing it or starting, you know, or have their feature film. How are you guys approaching it, or are you approaching it differently than other film festivals? Does anything set you apart, or are you like, I would love to hear about that. For us out there, they're like, how can I get my film into your film festival?
Well, I don't know when
What
this
are you looking
podcast.
for?
I don't know when this podcast will come out, but the submissions close in a week. So unfortunately for
In
this
a
first year,
week.
yeah.
Oh,
I know, but
okay.
so if it it'll probably be closed by the time this comes out. But that's okay. Hopefully it's going to be the first of many. So you know, it's a first trial. I think what sets us apart from other film festivals that I know of is that it is county-wide. So we're I think, I don't want to quote, but I'm pretty sure we're the first county-wide film festival to happen in the UK at least. So Essex is quite a big county. And so we kind of have hubs. So the idea is that each day is in a different place. And you can, so if you came, you'll see like 2 cities, you'll see like a little seaside town. So we kind of have quite different venues as well. We're working with the Curzon, which is a really lovely independent cinema chain in the UK. So we're working with them. We're also working with a theatre, an amazing theatre that's a production house as well. We're in their studio theatre. And then we're at this beautiful 1912, I think was the date that it was built, but don't quote me on that. It's very early 1900s cinema called the Electric Palace in a really quirky little seaside town called Harwich. And it's just been restored, so it's just had millions put into it to restore it back to its former glory, so it's exactly as it would have been when it was first built.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and they still have a silent cinema screen and everything, like with the original projectors and stuff, which obviously we won't be using, but it's just an amazing venue. So we're really excited to be having a festival day there as well. So that's like the main kind of difference. We're just focusing on short films for the first year, and each day it's quite full on. The program each day will consist of 2 big screenings with director Q&As and then 2 masterclasses as well. So we've got an insane lineup of amazing industry professionals to kind of run these workshops and masterclasses, and the tickets are super affordable and cheap, and especially if you're a filmmaker with your film in the festival, it's like £10 a day or something ridiculous, and you have access to the whole day.
Wow.
Got lots of networking opportunities and events happening as well, and drinks and all sorts of things. So yeah, I hope that it will be a very what's the word, like a good experience, a very enriching experience for filmmakers. And if you're not a filmmaker as well, you know, and you're just interested in the industry or interested in watching cinema, yeah, it's exciting.
Wow, that is exciting.
Lovely.
It's beautiful. So just for those that are listening, as this won't be, unfortunately, it's only a week now. We won't make that. But for next year.
Yes, hopefully. We're not sure if it will be a yearly or bi-annually thing at the moment, because obviously it's quite expensive to run. So we've been fully funded for the first year. So we'll just see where it goes from there. But yeah, but come along to the festival. We are, even if you're not living in the UK, we're right near loads of international airports. So there's Stansted Airport, which is like half an hour from our biggest venue. And there's Southend Airport as well, which is like does lots of European connections, which is in Essex as well. So you've got no excuse. It's like 30 quid a flight or something. Come and enjoy and say hello. It's
Oh my God, Valeria, I think we need to go.
You have to come. I hope you
like,
can come.
was I gonna fly? Wait, are we flying?
It's the
We
27th.
need to book our tickets now.
Yes.
Exactly. Tell us, when is it?
It's the 27th to the 30th of March in 2025. So, yeah, tickets will be on sale in January, and the whole program will be announced. So yeah, come. It's a very I hope to kind of create a very supportive environment that everyone's equal and people feel free and happy to just make connections in a very relaxed environment and celebrate work. And yeah.
Well, the way I know you, it will be like that.
I hope
That's
so.
just you. You're so full of love, and your heart is like the biggest. So I know that's going
You
to
too.
be. It's beautiful. May I ask you, how many films will you have?
I don't know the exact number of films yet, because we're kind of going through the selection process, and I'm programming it all in January. But we've got, so hang on, how many hours worth of screening? There's about 7 hours worth of film throughout the week. Yeah. So it depends.
Have you already started looking for the submissions, or do you wait for the?
I haven't started yet. Because I'm programming it, because I'm co-directing the festival, so we're kind of staying out of the actual selection process, just because, you know, naturally I know a lot of people within the community that are submitting as well, and I just want it to be completely fair and transparent. So I'm stepping away from that. And also it's just nice, you know, to get other people's opinions. And so we've got a beautiful team of curators who are at the moment watching all of the films and marking them and selecting them and things. So that will all be finished in January, and then I get to watch all of the selected films and program it, which is my favourite thing. I love programming screenings. So, and then from there we have a jury who will then take those selected films, and then they'll be voting on, like, you know, best genre films, best director, best actor, etc. So I won't be deciding that as well. So it's exciting. But yeah, very looking forward to the programming.
Could you tell me about the programming part of it? You said I'm so excited about that. What exactly is that? What exactly are you doing?
So it's taking the films and then putting them in an order, working out where it will sit within the festival. I'm used to programming screenings, but usually it's like 1 or 2 blocks of content. So it will be really interesting to program like a whole week's worth of content and kind of, for me, it is like a creating like art form in itself, because you kind of want to take the audience on a journey, and it's trying to work out, okay, where can I put this film within the program so that it's best received. Not like you wouldn't put, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't put like a really long hilarious comedy and then like a 3-minute really depressing film. So it's about kind of building the audience up to things, and how you can like vary genre and time and length of the films as well, and energy. I don't know, it's fun. Yeah. I don't know if I explained that very well, but yeah.
It's almost like creating the project on its own, like a collage of all the films and putting them together, piecing them, making it like the puzzle.
Yeah, really sometimes you get a film and, I don't know, like a little animation or something, and it just gives you a certain feeling, and it's just it would just fit perfectly before that story, because then the audience are now in a really good mindset and kind of emotional state to receive the next story that's going to be told. So yeah, I think for me that's like a really important thing, and I feel like very responsible to for the work, and trying to make sure that I honor that work that I've been gifted. Basically, I feel like anyone who submits their film, it's an honor to be able to share their work and be trusted with their work. So I feel like I want to, I'm responsible for that. So if that makes sense, I don't know.
No, yes,
It
it's
does.
beautiful.
It
That's
does.
beautiful, because it gives one, as I said, for you that are listening, you can see the love and feel it. If you're watching, you can see it. And if you're just listening, you feel it. And that's the thing, like, you know that your film, is it now, do you only have short or also feature?
This year just shorts,
Short.
just to make it more
So
manageable.
your short is being really like valued and taken care of, and it's, you make sure that people are screening it, like watching it in this, I don't know, you're taking them on an emotional journey, and that's beautiful, even in, inside of all the other shorts. So it's not just like a short on a short on a short, or after, but it's really also telling a story, and that just makes your own short film then even more valuable in a way. So it's beautiful.
And on the flip side of that, what I'd like to say as well is that it's given me an understanding of why films sometimes don't get chosen that are really amazing. And through my kind of experience of programming screenings before, like I would have lots of people submit their film, but sometimes I love a film so much, but it just doesn't quite fit in the program, and it's just not the right time to show it, or not the right space to show it in. And that can be quite hard as well, to go, actually, this isn't the right place for this film right now. And it's not that I don't love the film. And there's some films that I've like held on to for like a year, and then I've finally been able to screen it. So I would just say that as well. Like sometimes when you're like, why is my film not getting screened? And it could be a various reasons. And length as well, I've realized, is something that is, the longer the film, it's harder to program for shorts anyway. Because if you have an hour and a half, 90 minutes of, so let's say an hour, because it's easier to do the maths. If you have an hour screening, you've got 2 half-an-hour films that you can screen in that screen. You can show in that screening, or you have 4 films that are 15 minutes, or I can't do the maths of 10 minutes, but right. And as a programmer, you want to celebrate as much work as possible, and so usually, like, there's only per screening 1 20-minute film, for instance, and that usually will be the one for me anyway. I'm not speaking on behalf of everyone else who programs, but I like to finish off with the longest piece. And so then that puts pressure on that longest piece to be like very dynamic and finish on a kind of high, if that makes sense. Whereas sometimes a more frivolous, like smaller piece, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll just slot that in there because it's really easy to slot in. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what
yeah.
I've heard.
Yeah.
The shorter the better. And it's like, it's sometimes it's just difficult because you have all of this material, and you just like, okay, well, now we need to cut, and it feels like every single part of it, every frame is so important, and you want everyone to see it. And but thank you for sharing that. It was so insightful. That it's not necessarily your work, that you said that it can be just the issues of, it's not the right time for this film maybe, or in the current program that you're making, there isn't probably the right space, the space that would allow this film to be, viewed in the right moment, with due respect and attention. That is
Which
really,
means,
really
which
important.
means for those who are listening, is then just, that's why it's so important to submit to more festivals, film festivals, and always have more, as Valeria and I have talked about. Because it might be in the one film festival, it's not this year, they would maybe love to have you next, yet there's another one is like, this is exactly what we're looking for. You just don't know. And maybe seeing it a little bit, I don't know, I have this thing now in me that is like seeing it all like a little bit like a game. As just like playing a game and having, enjoying it and just seeing like, oh, let's see what comes out of this. Maybe I'll get in, maybe not. And that's okay. It's like what we talked about in the beginning. Lily, you talked about the rejection. It's a part of this industry. It just is. And
Sadly,
yeah, right. So yeah.
But you also can't do every single project because some projects take up a lot of time. So in that respect, I want to wait for the one that's right for me, because otherwise I'll be busy doing the one that's wrong for me, and the one that's right for me I won't be free for. So yeah.
That's beautiful.
What is it for you that is it the energy, or how do you know that it's meant for you? Is it the more like intuition or logic, or a mix of both? Or
I think sometimes you get off the things, not just necessarily acting or whatever, but do you want to do this, or can you look at this project or whatever, and you just get a feeling of like, if you don't feel like yes, and you're gonna make space for it. What's that quote? I can't remember who said the quote, so I'm sorry, but if it's a maybe, it's a no.
I'm not sure.
And
That's beautiful.
Which I read that not that long ago, and I was like, that makes sense. Like if you're like, oh, I don't know, but I should, but maybe it will come to something, but then also, well, then it's probably a no, because you're not like yes. But then sometimes it's just you don't get the choice of what's gonna happen for you, because you get rejected. So the world's made that choice for you, I guess. And then sometimes, like the film festival, things just feel really easy and they just happen and you get offered it. And so sometimes when it feels that easy, like, oh, nothing feels that easy, how has that happened, then you should probably run with it.
Yeah, true. That's how I feel with this podcast that we're doing here. It's exactly that. And it just it lights us up every time. It doesn't matter if we're doing the pre-talk before or pre-production before. We're like, we're all excited.
We're buzzing all the time.
It's super exciting that you're doing this.
Yes.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, no, just being able to give, amazing creatives, beautifully talented women like you, like a platform, and us talking. And then also, us learning from you, like listening to you, how you program a film festival. And, just getting a sense of that, it's thank you. And also your beautiful journey of just, you, as I said, you take the steps and you just continue your journey. Like, no matter the setbacks, you're like, whoops, again, you're like, okay, that felt shitty. Now let's continue. And I think it's amazing. And that is a part of all of this, is a big part, is this not giving up and finding the joy in it. Like you said about your dad, which I love, that your father, like, he enjoyed every part of it. Even it was playing in front of 20 people. He just loved it so much. And I think that's what it is. So, yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for having me today. It's nice to actually, I feel like people should just celebrate and talk about what they've done, because it's actually, I'm like, actually, you know what, I'm all right. Sometimes I think I'm falling apart and I'm like, I do. I'm all right. I'm enjoying myself. So it's good. Thank you.
That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This was really amazing, and a pleasure. And I love what you're doing. I think there's this one thing that I remember. Oh yeah, one thing I want to ask you, and that is something about when we were talking to you before. You talked about, for you, collaboration is giving back, not just taking.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's what you're living.
I think as an actor as well, you can kind of get into this trap of like just viewing people of like what they can give you, or if they can give you a job, because you're in such a kind of desperate state all the time and trying to prove yourself. But then when you start taking interest in other people's skills and what they do as part of the industry or whatever,
Mm.
and you try and find other ways that you can help them other than just being in front of the screen, things become much nicer and easier.
Mm.
And also you don't feel as embarrassed talking to people, because I'm not like, hey, hi, I'm Lily, what can you give me? I'm like, hey, maybe we can work together and I can do something for you. And
And that is also a good, beautiful tip for everyone out there. Everything is networking, but with heart and honesty. It's finding your people, reaching out to them, and also like asking, like, how can I serve you? How can we help each other on this journey? And then you will find your people, and that's beautiful. And then
you'll
just
grow
run
with
with
your
it.
people as well, and you can you can build up what you want the industry to look like and what you want your careers to look like together, and that's really beautiful, I think.
Yes.
And it seems to me that your journey, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's all the setbacks and rejections are as important as all the victories, and because it kind of taught you compassion, and you want to offer opportunities to other people and kind of lift them up, and that's what's really, really important in that industry. And it's like it's a fresh perspective, I think, as well, because I think for years and years people were just like competing and trying to outrun each other, which in the long term won't work anyway. So
Exactly, I think we're done with that now. I think it's time for us to work together.
And the kindergarten on set. Just saying, everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Just saying. Well, thank you so much. This was amazing. And it might be that we come to your film festival.
I hope you do. Please come.
We would love that very much.
I'd love
think
that.
about. I would love to come.
Come on the red carpet, on the opening gala, and it'd be great.
Be all fancy.
Yeah. I'd love it if you came.
Oh, thank you.
Just give me a hug if anything, because I miss you.
Oh yes, I miss you, girl. Yes. Well, we will have everything from Lily's Dreams. We'll have, everything she will provide us with, obviously, and the links in the show notes, and also how you can reach out to her and look at the film festival, the Essex International Film Festival, because for us, when we're looking at film festival strategies, it's sometimes you do need to look at it like, okay, what is next year, or what is in 2 years? It's kind of like what we say is like the run you can do is like about 2 years max, I think. Am I right?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, about that. So that you can look that up. And also, Essex Girl. Just saying, it needs to be made. Oh my God, guys, just go and watch the teaser. It's hilarious. So definitely check that out. Is there anything else you would like to say?
No, thank you so much for giving me the space and time today, and I'm so excited by what you're doing, and love you both very much, and
thank you. It's been lovely.